Hey Stamping friends, welcome to the Joy of Stamping with Rachel. I'm Rachael Coon and today is Wednesday's kit class online and we're going to be using the stitch triangles to make our cards today. Go ahead and hold while I flip and I will give you some more details of how this class works. All right, hopefully you guys can see that okay. It's not blurry and focused for you guys. This kit is so much fun, and let me tell you how our Wednesday kits work. Each Wednesday for the month of August, I'm going to have a kit ready to share with you guys. I will do a live video teaching you how to make those cards, and then you have 48 hours to shop online using the hostess code for that Wednesday, and then you will get that kit in the mail. And that kit includes everything that's on this side. If you like to buy items, I have them here so you know what I've used, and I have a list, and on my blog you can get all of these measurements and supplies as well. I do have suggested items that I would like to recommend you to get, but if you already have these dies, then you definitely don't need to get them. My suggested list for today is a special someone stamp set, mini dimensionals, regular dimensionals, the Night of Navy ink if you don't have it, and the Gilded Gems. This kit is awesome because it has so much value to it. I'm going to show you some of the supplies that I use and let you know what a great deal it is because I use over $150 worth of supplies to make this for you guys. So first I have this awesome embossing folder that I used in one of our cards. And the mind's escaping me what it's called. I know it's from, I think it's a textured one, and I can't remember the name of it though. I'll be sure to post it, and it's on my blog. But I use this embossing folder. I've used not the stamp set for this one, but I used these stitch dies in here for the triangles, and we have all these ones. I used mostly these 4 small ones here, and this medium, or the second to smallest one here for the cards today. I also die cutted a thanks from this set. So see all my dies here? So this is a great set that's worth over $50, and I use the thanks for you guys. I have that cut out in gold. And this stamp set, Special Someone, I use the happy birthday from this stamp set. And it's also a really great one with sayings, and of course I love this cute little raccoon. I also used, what I have is the retired hand-lettered dies, but I suggest the playful alphabet if you would like to get that as well. But those are all the things that make this kit so amazing because you get so much value from it. Let me go ahead and show you these cards we are making. You get 4 of them, and they all have a theme of using these stitch triangles and the same color scheme. So a lot of it coordinates with each other, but I was pretty clever and I only gave you 2 happy birthdays, but the happy birthday does not come with it, so you use whatever you have or you buy that special someone. And then I use die cuts for this one, and I use a die cut for that one. These can be interchanged as well if you'd rather this one to be a high card and this one to be a thanks. It's however you want to make your kit. I'm going to go ahead and show you how I make this one. And we're going to start with this triangle one. I use a Old Navy card base, just a regular 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Here's our sample, so we'll have it up here to look at. I did use the In Good Taste DSP as our peekaboo through our triangles here. I've already ran this through our die cutting machine of our different triangle shapes. And then because it is a Night of Navy card base, I have a Whisper White that will come in the kit as well for the inside of the card. I use this Misty Moonlight, and this comes from the Flowers of Every Season ribbon. I use this twine for right here. And then here's all of our shapes and our little piece. Let me go ahead and show you how we make this one. First, what we need to do is glue together our DSP with our cutout triangles. Let's go ahead and you can either use your Stampin' seal or your liquid glue on here. I think I'm actually going to use my seal today on this one. And I'm going to go on the edges where there's still paper left. So when you cut this out at home, if and when you do this, make this card, I suggest making sure you give yourself some border on around these edges so you have something that you can attach it to. All right. I think I have enough random adhesive on there. And I did make this one a little bit smaller because I didn't want any of that peek through. You can kind of see it's just a tad bit smaller. And I could do either side. I could either have that be my peek through, but I really am digging these blocks right here. So we'll line it up just like there and have it like that. We'll smooth it out. And that's probably even a better way to line it up so you can see that you still have those edges there. And then we're going to use our dimensionals to pop up this from the card base. And we'll want to have some good stability here. I used to be very stingy and only use one in each corner. Now I've gotten so I have it in the middle and corners. So about 9 dimensionals, because this is a big piece of paper. I still am stingy and I will cut dimensionals as needed though. Because on dimensionals, they come with this cool little border here that's also dimensional, but it's not cut. So I use my paper snips and I cut those out just nicely. All right, so we're going to put this one lined up here and press it down. And then we're going to use our liquid glue and attach our triangles. And this, you just kind of play with. You kind of look through and say, what will look good on this card and shape. And I have the rules of odds again. So you know that makes our eyes and brain happy. So I have odd number of triangles that I've cut out to put on, and I have an odd number that I've cut out of the Whisper White. So we're just gonna kind of place it wherever we think. And you can overlap even some of that DSP if you want. Ooh, there's no rhyme or reason to how you do this part. I do like to lay it out at least first, so that way we know. Let's switch up this one maybe. Nope, I'm going to keep that there and put this one here. And then you're just going to have to use some liquid glue. And I'm suggesting liquid glue so it has a little bit of wiggle. And you just do a little bit all over. Remember, don't get too close to your edges. I'm going to go that way with this one. Some of these are going to be covered up, so keep that in mind. I have it so they're kind of offsetting where that DSP triangles are cut out too. A little bit there. Be sure to comment today. I will look through them when I'm done and answer any questions that you may have about how to make these cards. All right. Next, I've stamped a happy birthday and I've cut it out. And what I do is that you'll get a piece of strip like this in yours, and you can stamp whatever you want on there. And then I just take my snips and I just cut off the ends depending on the size of my words. So there's no measurement to this one. This is about 1/2 inch though, I believe. Oh, maybe even less. I think maybe 1/4 inch of the Whisper White. All right. So what we're going to do is put some of these dimensionals. I'm going to use the mini ones for this one on the back. And we're going to make a nest with our Misty Moonlight trim. What you do is you just wrap it around your fingers, depending on what size you want. Gather it together, and I'm going to place it right about here. Then when I place my happy birthday on there, it will just hold it in place. And if I think I need a little bit more, I could. All right, there's our nest. On this nest, I kind of separated the twine a little bit, and you can do however you want. Glue that back down and make that shape. Then all we need to do for this card is add a nice little I love these. They're the gilded gems. They're gold to match with our foil gold that we used. I'm going to snag this big one. I just set it right there. Let's flip this in the inside. Put our Whisper White card base. Sorry, Whisper White insert. There we go. That lined up. Use our bone folder, so I close it, and then fold it on the back side. And there's card number 1. And you can play with this a little bit if it's coming out, or trim it as well. I would take probably my snips and just trim this piece. And that card is almost done. Let's see, I might need to calm it down. There we go. Card number 1, our happy birthday. Awesome. Next one, you guys ready? This is the one I shared with you guys for my Manly Monday. And this one's so fun, and some great tips for this one is to have this strip of paper with you. It has nothing to do with actual card, but it has everything to do with lining it up. So let me show you how I did that. And we'll dump all of our pieces out. This one I did a little bit smaller for this. I did at a 3 3/4 by 5 to give us a little bit more of that border. And I'm going to use my grid paper. So let me make sure my grid paper is in line for this one. You guys can see it okay. And I'm going to have this line up right here. And on my grid paper, I have these squares. Let me make sure. Actually, I might need to flip my grid paper over. That's okay. Because I'm on the centimeter side. Let me grab one more piece. We'll just flip this over real fast for you guys. So our grid paper comes double-sided, so that way if you use more of the metric with the centimeters or use more of the inches. There we go. We'll get that grid paper lined up right again. You guys are so good to be patient for me. Okay, and you can actually already see where I've lined up and used a pencil. So let me show you how I did it. I went ahead and I counted. I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I put my line pencil there. I did the same thing to this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 line, and I used this top of my grid paper as my top piece to make sure to measure it by. And then I grabbed that scrap of paper and I'm going to put it right above those lines right there. And we're going to stamp first for this one. I'm going to use my happy birthday and my night of navy. And I'm going to line it up so I know that it'll be underneath there. Press and lift. Perfect. Then I'm going to move this scrap of paper right below my 2 lines. And we're going to line up our triangles. So you can go in any pattern or shape for this one. It does not matter. But we want to get an idea. And some of these I use dimensionals for. Let me get this back in the view so you can see it better. There we go. And some of them I laid flat with the glue. So it's up to you how you do it. I really liked the idea of some of them popping though. And the 4 colors I've used on our cards are, of course, that Whisper White, the Night of Navy, the Bermuda Bay, that way. Let's see if I've lost any of my, the Night of Navy is that one. I did Balmy Blue, which is this guy right here. And I have Poppy Parade, which is that one. Okay, so I kind of have it lined up where I want it to be color-wise. And now I'm going to find my dimensionals and put those ones on first. These triangles are littler, so I do suggest the mini ones for this one. And I put 1 on the tip and 2 on the ends on each side. And I'm going to place that down right there using my scrap of paper as my line for that tip. Then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with this one. Put our dimensionals on here. Thanks for joining me. I see a couple people on today for this class. We'll use that piece of paper as our guide. We're going to do one right next to it as well. And we'll do our balmy blue for our last triangle that we'll need dimensionals on. We'll peel that off and put that on. And you're just going to have it alternating the ups and downs, the tips of it, of which angle it's going to go. Let's make sure that these will have enough room and are still lined up with our piece of paper. I hope you guys are having a great day. Tell me what you're up to. What have you been working on? And this one's going to go down right about there. All right, now we'll get our liquid glue out and glue these ones in. Still using that piece of scrap paper as our guide. And you're just going to eyeball how you want your spacing to be. I only put a little bit of glue on this one, knowing that it was not going to go all the way over, and I will use my paper snips in a second to clip off that edge. There we go. We'll get this one. A couple more, and this will be done. Oh, I'm wiggling on my guide. Let's put that back. There we go. The awesome thing about this guide is I can just readjust it whenever I shimmy it too much, which is great. I do have like a long post-it note that I could use as well if I wanted to make sure it didn't move at all. Oh, just about there. Okay. So we remove our guide and you have a pretty straight line there. Go ahead and use our paper snips on the back. And just cut it so it matches it, or you can run it through your trimmer. It's up to you. And then we're going to put dimensionals on this one. We're going to use our larger dimensionals though for this back side. Again, probably about 9. This is another big piece. We'll see. Yep, we're going for 9. We're going to grab our card base. I do like to use, when I use the white, the thick Whisper White. And that's because you can tell a huge difference. This is our Whisper White that's really flimsy, and our thick has some stability. And I will use that for my card bases, especially for all of my kits you guys get. They will be that thick Whisper White. Okay, make sure we have all of our backings off. And we'll line it up by just hovering it over, and then we'll press it down. We use our bone folder. We'll kind of start to crease it, and then we'll use our bone folder to get it nice and crisp. All right, that's card number 2. Done. Sound fun? You guys will have to let me know which one is your favorite from this kit. Here's our next one. This is a fun one that I took a class from a friend, and she showed us how to make this one, which I really, really love. And it's fairly simple. You just have a card base, our regular kind, our 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. And then we have these triangles. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 triangles. But you could also use the tops of some of these or the bottoms of some of those, depending on how much you have. But I'll give you guys 6 in your kits. Let's set this one up here. Oh, and make sure I don't forget my letters. Get our letters out. Square back. There we go. All right, so we're going to do the similar thing. We're going to line these up of where we think we would like to place them, just so we have a spacing idea. I'll use my example as a guide so I know what colors and how I have them being placed. So I'll use that one there. We'll put this one down here. I probably should start with this guy because he and this guy, or maybe even this one right here, as our guide, because these ones do not get cut at all. These will be, this one has a little bit cut right there. So those ones probably should have been our first one to put on. Duly note that. And we'll just kind of place it right there. Make sure we have enough room for our letters. I'm going to scoot these over just a little bit to get that where we want it to be. Sorry, I know it was out of screen. Just, there we go. You guys can see that better now. And my trick for this one is not to put the dimensionals on the triangles, but you're going to put the dimensional directly on the paper because we're going to be cutting some of these and it's hard to guess where exactly it's all going to be. So let's go ahead and grab our big normal dimensionals, and I'm going to just remove one spot and put some dimensionals down. Like that. Take off my backings. And then place my triangle. There we go. Same for this one. Remove it from where it is. Say we know it's going to be right about here. And I'm using usually 3 for these ones on each spot. And then I'm going to line it up. I'm going to use this guy. I want a little bit of white space in between so the triangles aren't touching. You could totally have them touch. That is up to you. Remove that one again. Put some dimensionals down. Take off the backs. And place our triangle about there. Super easy, right? And these triangles will come all cut for you, which is usually the most time-consuming part of this card. It's kind of like a puzzle piece, so lining up your puzzles. Oh, you see, I did that one differently. That one I did all over because it is going to be not cut at all. So that one worked out okay. This one, though, I'll go ahead and place dimensionals straight on the card base. Take off the backs. And line up our triangle. We'll get this last one. This one won't need as many. I don't know if you guys can hear that. My husband's singing in the background. He's so fun. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's go ahead and glue down our letters. And you can just use your liquid glue or your fine tip glue pen for this one. We'll get our H. I do like the idea of either having the HI for hi or an HB for happy birthday. So it just depends on what kind of cards you need. Because I already made 2, I'm making 2 happy birthdays in this kit. I decided to throw in a hi. Let me see if I can get this piece up. I might need my tool. Hold on. Hold that thought. I'm going to put a little bit of glue right here for that dot, that eye. Oh, valid. I'm going to use my Take a Pip tool right here. It has that sticky putty. Let's see if I can get that better. There we go. Done. So this one we actually have to score and then we'll cut. So I'm going to bend it carefully right there and we'll crease it. Look at all those And we'll take our paper snips or throw it in the trimmer, either one. If you're good at lining up, feel free to do it that way. And let's grab our snips. We'll have it just go alongside of it. I'm going to open this up so I can see better. There we go. And you can reuse these shapes if you want or toss them. I usually keep things for a long time and then I realized I wasn't going to use it after all. Oh, you just don't want to waste stuff though. And sometimes I recycle and use these for other parts. That first card we did had all those triangles that we cut out of that Whisper White. And so those ones I'm keeping because I know I'll use those. Snip that one right there and there we go. And that card is done. You could use one of these gems also if you wanted to embellish and put a little one right there too. All right, that one's so much fun. And look at that, how it just kind of pops up so nicely. That's card number 3. One more to go, you guys are doing awesome. Let's clean up our space a little bit now that I have all these scraps. And put them aside. This last one is so much fun. And I think you'll love it. This is our thanks one. And it's so pretty how these triangles just line up. We'll get all of our pieces out and show you how to do it. When I made this card, I'll show you, I saw something. Let's see if you guys can see it too when I make it. So this is our textured paper you'll get that I ran through and embossed. Our card base. And these I will just glue on straight. We'll do that right now, in fact. Let's just glue this on. I suggest with this embossed piece to use the liquid glue because it gets in those nooks and crannies a little bit nicer and doesn't tear the paper that has the texture. All right, there's our card base ready to go for us. And let's do our triangles. Set this aside so you still can see it. And let's start with our biggest one. And how this is going to work is we'll do them exactly the same. I'm going to start with our red. And you see this one, I have a little bit of a tip that I didn't get cut out right. But it's going to get covered, so I'm going to put it right there. Because it won't matter. I am using the liquid glue again. The Tombow, or green glue. So layer up our pieces. Next, we have our balmy blue cardstock. A little bit more. There we go. We're going to cover that up. Right there. We're just going to each corner so they all have one corner they meet at. And you can do this with any color scheme. I saw the one that I saw was all almost like the same color, like all reds. And they had it in big to little sizes. But I really like this fun summer colors that we chose for our cards today. Okay, almost there. And we'll get our gold foil triangle. Oops, see, I wiggled that one too much. It's okay. Just shimmy it, and it's good again. Tiny little pieces here with our gold foil. And that one doesn't need much because it will squish out. I have that one. I'll lay it there. See, I have a little bit of glue on my tip, so it's sticking. Okay, we're going to make this card, but I have to show you something really funny. I was putting this together, and I turned this piece like this. And you know what I instantly saw? Was a Christmas tree. If I were to do this in different shades of green and had like a little gold or silver foil on top, doesn't that look like a Christmas tree to you? And what a fun, easy one that would be. So that was my little fun find as I was making this one. All right, so now what we do, we're going to bring it over here and we're going to line it up just right. Let's set those aside real quick. On here. Before we adhere, let's always match it up so that way it's where it needs to be. and lining up so I have it just about at the tip of our top here, but not quite. And then we're going to use dimensionals on the back of this one. If you wanted the space in between, you could, or you can get them as close as you want. Let me flip it and put some dimensionals on the back. We'll do 4 for this one. Put some dimensionals on his back. All right, let's remove those backs. And if you want to be specific or accurate, you could always measure. I am such a big eyeballer that I rarely will measure my spacing out. I just go with what I feel like looks good. So use your gut feeling when you're placing things down, like, that looks good to me. And you should be fine. Okay, but this one, I line it up. I want to make sure that this blue kind of keeps on running through. You see that look there? There we go. All right. Then we have our thanks. I use the vellum right here. And let me get my fine tip glue pen out. And I'm going to go ahead and, actually, I'm going to glue this guy on first, and then we'll snip it. Make sure you guys can still see. There we go. Thanks looks weird upside down, I know. So we'll get some of this glue to come out, and I'll just kind of trace along the back side. And then we'll flip it over and lay it down. This one will need to take a little bit of time to dry because that vellum's a different texture, and I just kind of press it there for a little minute. Looks like I've had a confetti party with my dimensional backs, doesn't it? A party there. And then we're going to take our paper snips and we're going to take off these edges. And my suggestion to you is to find your corner to where this is right there and goes to that tip. And then this one will do something from this corner. Take this corner and angle it right about there. There's no rhyme or reason. You can either use liquid glue or glue dots. Grab. I love our mini glue dots. They're my favorite, and I always forget to have them on my table when I do classes. Vellum and glue dots are the way to go, and I want to kind of hide them though, because vellum's very see-through. I'm going to try to put it a little bit behind those gold letters so you can't see it as much. And then we're just going to place it over our triangles here. And lastly, we'll just add that embellishment from that gilded gem. And I had it right there on that triangle. We'll use our bone folder. So I do a little light fold, flip, and crease. And there we have card number 4. All right, you guys, you have 40 hours to order this kit for free by placing an online order. $35 and get your order in using that hostess code by Friday at 10 a.m. And then I will cut these up for you and send them out in the mail. Hope you guys had a wonderful time learning how to use the stitch triangles and have a great week. Happy stamping, everyone. Bye.